Okay. Let's get this part over with. So they had a 5-man X Division ladder match to see who gets the title shot against Austin Aries of Bound for Glory. One would think that's something they'd want to advertise in advance. You know, hype it up a little bit, get people excited for it. But I guess TNA didn't think they needed to do that. They might have mentioned it on the website or something. I don't know. I didn't check. So, if I hadn't read the spoilers, I would have had no idea this match was happening. Way to make your ladder match look important, TNA. The match only goes about 5.5 minutes. Everyone worked hard here, but it was just a bunch of spots. It was too chaotic with no rhyme or reason to it because they didn't have enough time to tell a story. Kendrick wins, which they completely telegraphed by having him being the only guy in the match who got his entrance shown. I don't have a problem with him getting a title shot, but one has to wonder why a character like Brian Kendrick, who supposedly rejects materialism, was so excited about this. He didn't respect the championship when he had it last time, and in fact, he dismissed the championship as a materialistic thing, and now all of a sudden he's fired up about getting a chance to win it back? Seems kind of strange to me, but hell, what do I know? I'm just a guy who thinks stuff on television should make sense.
This whole show is ridiculous!
And while we're on the subject of matches that annoyed me, Madison Rayne was back in the ring this week. She had a match with Tara to qualify for the title match at Bound for Glory. This woman spends more time trying to seduce Earl Hebner than actually wrestling. So she's putting no effort into the match at all, as usual. Then Hebner calls her on this, turns around so Tara could beat the shit out of her, so her trying to seduce him didn't work. But then she gets the pin with her feet on the ropes, so that whole bit with her trying to seduce him, which slowed the match to a snail's pace, by the way, amounted to exactly nothing.
Oh shit! It's Russo! What the hell is this all about?
Seriously, you could have removed that from the match entirely and nothing would have changed. So, why the hell did you even put it in? Why not just let them wrestle the match straight? You could keep the same finish, it doesn't even matter. Taking Madison tries to seduce Earl Hebner out of the script does literally nothing except make the match better. But I guess we can't have that, because Madison Rayne doesn't care about wrestling good matches. Clearly. Early on in her run, you could see that she was trying. She wasn't brilliant or anything, but at least she was putting some effort into her in-ring performance. But she doesn't give a shit about her wrestling anymore, she's just out there to be a character now. And she might have some kind of argument for that if her character was over. But it's not. And that's the whole problem. I've seen this character get no reaction on Impact. I've seen it get no reaction on pay-per-views. I've seen it get no reaction in person at live events. It's not over. It's never been over. And now she's getting another title shot when she hasn't won a single match or even done a damn thing, period, since she split with Tara? Ha-ha! But don't worry, TNA. I'm sure someone who half-asses it in the ring like Madison does will get a great reaction at Bound for Glory next month. You know how receptive of that sort of thing the Philadelphia fans are.
You people are fools!
Okay, there's one more thing I have to talk about before I get to the stuff I liked. Oh, Jesus Christ. You know, watching this match, this was the first time I seriously considered introducing an overbooking overload alarm for these videos. Ken Anderson has a match with the Pope. Devon's kids attack Anderson during the match because Devon just absolutely refuses to leave them at home, even though they are the direct source of nearly everything that's gone wrong in his career for the last 10 months or so. And while the referee is outside the ring dealing with this mess, Bully Ray attacks Anderson from behind and the Pope gets the pin. Afterward, is the focus on Bully Ray and Ken Anderson? You know, the guys who have a match at Bound for Glory in a few weeks? Nope. They're not seen or heard from for the rest of the night. Oh, but we get more with the Pope, Devon, Terrence, and Terrell, because that's what's really important, right? Right?
This whole show violates everything about my journalistic integrity!
I know I'm constantly asking this question, but why the hell was all this necessary? Once again, you could take out this shit with Devon's kids altogether and the match outcome would have been exactly the same. It did absolutely nothing except distract the viewers from what should have been the focus of the match in the first place. Bully Ray could have gotten that cheap shot on Anderson any number of ways. Why did it have to be in such a way that put all the focus on two guys that aren't even on the Bound for Glory card? When you're this close to your biggest show of the year, any storylines that aren't building up to Bound for Glory really should be put on hold to prevent shit like this from happening. Take it off the show. Put it on Explosion or something. This Pope Devon thing is not what's important right now. Christ, even Eric Young has been taken off the board for the time being. Why can't you do the same with this?
I was a war correspondent, and now I'm covering this!
Okay, now we can talk about the good stuff, thank God. There were two segments tonight. One with Sting, one with Jeff Jarrett, where I finally saw something that I've been screaming at TNA to do for years now. They used the veterans to build young stars. Sting talks up Bobby Roode. Jarrett starts a feud with Kazarian. Yes, this is what you're supposed to use the veterans for. This company has wasted so much time over the years, either playing veterans against other veterans or having veterans bury the young talent, and all that crap does is set you back. Sting vs. Hogan does nothing for you beyond one pay-per-view. Jarrett vs. Angle over and over and over again is completely pointless, but Jarrett helping to get Kazarian more over and Sting talking about how Bobby Roode can beat Kurt Angle? Thank you. Now you're doing something constructive. Now you're using the veterans in a way that will actually benefit your company next month and next year and 5 years from now. That's what you're supposed to use the veterans for. If they're not going to build and give a rub to the next crop of main event stars, then why the hell are they even there? This is what I want to see more of, especially with Jarrett. Like I said before, Jarrett knows how to get guys over, and it's really nice to see him finally using that to benefit someone else. The only drawback is that they could have been doing so much more of this in the last few years, and instead they did the main event Mafia and all that other garbage. Crimson came back, and he called out Samoa Joe. Then Joe came out and pretty much beat the shit out of him. I liked this for the most part. I do think it was a little rushed. I think this would have been better if they'd drawn it out a little bit. But, you know, they play the video package while Crimson is walking to the ring, and then it all plays out very quickly. There was definitely a sense of, we need to get this over with fast, and I wish they'd given it a little more time. It was still good, though. You know, the brawling on the ramp was intense, Joe looked like a monster again, but then Matt Morgan came out and Joe turned into a chicken shit. Did not like that. That's not Joe's character at all. He should be a badass against anyone, up to and including Matt Morgan. I do like the match that they're building up for the pay-per-view. Joe, Morgan, and Crimson I think could be really good if booked right. The thing is, Joe absolutely needs to win that match if you're going to have any hope of salvaging this heel turn, and I have zero confidence that he will. I mean, the story writes itself. Crimson and Morgan start off on the same page, but then Joe starts with the mind games and plays them off each other and then capitalizes at the right time. But will it happen? Probably not. I expect Joe will be jobbing again at Bound for Glory because that's what he does now. Joe never wins important matches anymore. AJ Styles versus Bobby Roode was the main event, and this was very good. Just a really strong quality match, and I'm very glad that Bobby Roode seems to be a guy that management likes enough to put real focus on him. You know, give him that awesome video package, give him a longer TV match than we usually see, let it play out with no bullshit, no overbooking, let him get a clean win, and just take the time to put him over the right way. That's what they should be doing with him. That's why he's getting over so well. That's what makes the fans think that this is the guy that's going to beat Kurt Angle at Bound for Glory. And I do think that come October 16th, Bobby Roode's walking out of Philly with the world title. And I really believe that's where they're headed, and I personally can't wait to see it. Then the show ended with Hogan. And his big earth-shattering announcement that he talked about last week was that he was retiring. So, rather than face Sting at Bound for Glory, Hogan is just going to walk away from the business instead. Gee, thanks a lot, Hogan. You let the company build up to this match, this climactic final battle between Immortal and Icon that would determine the fate of the entire organization for well over a year. You let them think you were physically capable of pulling this off, and then, just a few weeks before the show, you decide that you've had enough and you pull out. Wow. I have to say, that is a pretty damn sleazy thing to do.
You could have done the right thing!
You could have done what was best for business!
But you didn't have the balls!
And now you're just leaving TNA in the lurch at the 11th hour without even giving them enough time to come up with a plan B, because...
You're nothing but a selfish prick!
I've been waiting weeks for a chance to use that one. You have no idea. Before you guys say anything, yes, I know it's a work. They're trying to swerve us again, predictably. I don't like that, for the same reasons why I hated the Team 3D breakup fake-out so much. In this day and age, retirement angles really don't fly because no one buys into them anymore, unless they're for real. Like HBK Undertaker at WrestleMania. Everyone knew Shawn was really leaving, so they bought it, and it meant something. In my mind, each guy gets one of those. They get one chance to do a retirement angle that means something. You piss that away, and you don't get another one. But if you do a retirement angle and play it like it's real, but then take it back going, ha ha, I fooled you, it was a work the whole time, then when you do actually retire for real, people aren't going to buy into it. Flair had his meaningful retirement against Shawn Michaels and he pissed that away. 3D had their meaningful retirement against the Motor City Machine Guns and they took that back. Now when these guys actually retire for real, I'm not going to care because I won't believe it. And yeah, I know this isn't really the same thing. And to their credit, this was well done, and they did show that Sting wasn't buying it for a second, which was a smart move on their part. But I just don't think this is the best way to build this match up. It would be better just to play it straight, in my opinion. Instead of trying to make us wonder whether the match will even happen at all, I think this time would be much better spent trying to come up with a plausible explanation for how the Hogan-Sting match is going to determine the fate of the company. If Sting beats Hogan, then presumably Dixie Carter gets the company back, right? I think that's where we're headed. Okay, how? How does that work? How does that stipulation come about? Why does Hogan agree to it when he has every reason in the world not to? These are the questions that they should be addressing instead of wasting time with this fake-out routine that no one is buying into anyway. So that's that. Aside from the overbooking and the half-assed presentation of the ladder match, this episode was pretty good. Your Bobby Roode Kurt Angle is some of the best pay-per-view hype they've done in a long time. I know that's not saying a whole lot, but it really has been great. It just depresses me that they don't build up their pay-per-views like this every month. There's no reason why they can't do it, and yet, for some reason, they don't. I don't get it. But the Knoxville shows are up next. Those ought to be fun, so enjoy those. One of my Twitter followers asked me to talk about the first new Ring of Honor TV show. I was going to, but I didn't think I'd have enough time to do it this week. I did watch it, though, and I'll try to do a write-up on it, and I'll post that on the blog when I get a chance. So watch out for that, and I'll see you guys next week. Later.